Hi everyone, I am here with a true story. This one is by Jacqueline B. and it is called Love Always. For 9 months, I was a single mother of my son Zane before I met and fell in love with Dave. Dave and I married a year later and he adopted Zane as his own. At the time, Dave was working hard toward a college degree. So Zane and I spent every day together, just the two of us. We'd go to parks, the zoo, and the Museum of Science every chance we got, talking, laughing, and playing together the whole time. When Zane was 5 years old, Dave and I started having children, but those years, with just the three of us, helped us form a special bond that could never be broken. As Zane grew, our conversations changed and became about more complex things, such as relationships. He seemed to have no problem telling me anything or asking for my advice. After he moved out, he still called me regularly to share an idea, talk about an event, or just to say, "I love you, Mom." One day, he started talking about a woman he'd met at work. Paige was a single parent of a young son. She'd revealed to Zane her fear that she would never find a man who would love her and her son. Zane told her not to give up, and he too was the son of a single mom, and his mom had met and married a wonderful man who became his father. Soon Zane's relationship with Paige blossomed. He brought her over for dinner one night to meet us. She was a beautiful woman with a kind demeanor, and we got along well. When it appeared there might be a wedding in the near future, they told us that they were doing things in a less than ideal order and that a baby was on the way. They decided to become husband and wife before the birth of their child. Her parents and Dave and I were the witnesses at their ceremony. They would hold a big summer wedding after the baby arrived. They had a beautiful baby girl and named her Emma. After she was born, I began feeling an animosity from Paige, but I didn't know why. She'd tell me I wasn't holding Emma correctly. I made a comment that I'd raised 3 children and that I'd held many babies in my lifetime and had never been told this before. It seemed to make matters worse. When we arrived at the bridal shower before the summer wedding, Paige graciously hugged my mother-in-law and daughter but turned her back to me. During the party, Emma was passed around to all so they could admire her, but when she was finally put into my loving hands, Paige came over and took her out of my arms, saying she needed to change her diaper. She was finished changing her. She passed her into someone else's arms. Every time I got close to Emma, Paige snatched her away for some reason. After that, I was steaming inside. Every time we were together, she avoided eye contact and would only talk to me briefly if I spoke to her first. I was shocked at her treatment of me. I felt like my son had married an enemy, and she was now part of our family. Zane's marriage to Paige began affecting my relationship with him. I felt angry, hurt, and sad. Finally, the day of the summer wedding arrived. I was instructed to not hold the baby during the wedding. I felt terrible. I was supposed to be happy for Zane, but instead a dark cloud hung over me because of Paige's horrible treatment of me. In the past, I simply distanced myself from people who treated me badly. But how could I even think to cut off my relationship with Paige, the woman whom my dear son Zane had married and whom was the mother of my precious granddaughter? That's horrible. Why is she treating her that way? I began to pray. I told my trusted friend all that had occurred between Paige and me. We prayed about it together. When I opened my Bible, God took me to Mark 10:7-8. Jesus says, "A man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. In that moment, I remembered my love for Zane. Neither he nor the rest of my children had always acted wonderfully, but even when they were rebellious, sassy, and mischievous, and I in turn felt angry and disappointed, I still always had a love for them that went beyond their actions. God showed me through this verse that if I loved Zane that much, and if he and Paige were one flesh, then I was to love her the same way. After talking with Zane and praying for wisdom in the situation, I reached out to Paige. As I took steps of faith to make things right with her, our relationship was restored and transformed by God's love. But why did she act that way? Since then, I've learned to ask for forgiveness and pursue making things right when we have misunderstandings. Zane and Paige have asked me to babysit my grandchildren on a regular basis, and I'm deeply involved in their lives. Recently, Paige told me she trusts her children in my care more than she trusts her own parents, and that she deeply appreciates and loves me. In the thick of the emotions of feelings, terrible and at a loss for what to do, I truly believed nothing would help, but I was wrong. God showed me that I could love always, and that with Him all things are possible. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor things, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Good night, guys.